From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. It is Thursday. We're almost to the end of the week, and we got ourselves some great college basketball tonight. We also have some NFL tonight as well, too, and we have the NBA. So up first, let's go ahead and jump into what's going on in the world of college basketball. We have ourselves a really good game tonight between Texas and Seton Hall. Seton Hall coming into this game 24th ranked in the nation, with the Texas coming into the game as the number 7 team in the nation. Now, both these teams square off tonight in New Jersey over at the Prudential Center, and pretty much Seton Hall coming into this game ready to go ahead and shock the system a little bit. Now, the line has changed since yesterday, so pretty much it's went from a +2 on the side of Seton Hall to now a -1, and so that means that that means betting's going back and forth, but a lot of the money is getting laid on Seton Hall for now. But I think that as we get to the before tip, it will probably favor towards Texas. This will probably wind up being a pick 'em. Now, it's still early in the season. Texas is 6-1 on the year, 4-3 against the spread, and they have went under in 4 out of their 7 games this year. And their one game against a ranked opponent was against Gonzaga when they were the number 1 team in the nation. They wound up losing that game by 12 points. All right, so Seton Hall comes back 7-1 on the season. They are 3-3-1 against the spread, and then they are even when it comes to the over and under. And they are 1-1 versus ranked teams this season as well, getting a monster win over number 4 Michigan to start the year off, and then losing to Ohio State by 3 points in that tournament game over in South America. So this game looks to be a pretty good game tonight. I will go ahead and I will circle Seton Hall with the points tonight. I know that now they're a -1. It doesn't really matter to me. I think that Seton Hall goes ahead and gets a huge win over Texas, just like they did last year as well, too. So it's a tough out when you go to Jersey to go against the kids in the Hall. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be our college basketball game of the night. And in a bit, we'll be talking about the CBB PrimeTime PK6 that has some high value for you tonight as well, too. So there it is. There it is. Now, let's go ahead and move on to our next subject in hand. And that's going to be for the TNF for the Thursday night football game. Now, you guys did hear me go over this with Jeff on the show just a moment ago. So pretty much what we have here is we have ourselves a very peculiar situation with both these teams vying for playoff spots and everything like that. You actually have a Steelers team that won a huge game last week. Nobody really – well, the thing is, Ben Roethlisberger has beaten the Ravens 6 out of the last 7 times they played them. So it didn't really matter where they were sitting at in the division anymore. Pretty much Big Ben just went ahead and handled his business. He's an elder statesman of the league, and there's just certain teams that they have a certain edge over, and that's a team that they have a great edge over. So it winds up being that you have a good game that you're coming off of, but then you're going against a Minnesota team that's coming off their worst loss of the season, maybe their worst loss of the decade, losing to Detroit, and a last-second loss as well, too. So you come into this game, and you're not going to try to make any mistakes tonight. What you're trying to do tonight is you're trying to go ahead and play damn near the perfect game tonight because you know what you're dealing with the Steelers. So I think that they've played much better at home their last few games that they played, and they got a huge win over the Packers in the process at home as well too. So I think tonight what they do is they figure out a way to just go ahead and win this game, and I think that they actually kind of dominate in this game as well too. Just the Vikings, just to me, the Steelers don't score enough points to keep up in this game, and I think that's going to work into the Vikings' favor today. And I think that they're going to get after Ben Roethlisberger, and I think that Ben Roethlisberger on 3 days rest is not the same as a younger quarterback on 3 days rest. I think that he needs a whole week to really get it together because he barely practices. So I think that this is a good spot for the Vikings tonight. And I really do like the spread on the Vikings tonight as well, too. I have the Monday Night Football bets ready for you guys in a moment. But for now, let's go ahead and see how this one goes. But I think it will be a good night in Minnesota. So let's go ahead and check out the state of the Lakers. And with that state of the Lakers, we have the Lakers going against Memphis tonight in Memphis as well too. So yeah, I'm going to let you guys know that's a guaranteed sellout because that's always a sellout in the city of Memphis, regardless of what Laker team will. It could be the Lakers who win championships, or it could be the Lakers who lose 60 games. Regardless, people are going to show up and watch the Lakers. Okay, so they have somewhat of a establishment there in Memphis, So you have the Lakers coming into this game, winners of their last 2 on the road, but they're 4-5 against the spread and straight up on the road, but they've won 2 in a row. Also, the Lakers have went over in 5 out of 9 games they played on the road. And then when it comes to playing against the Western Conference this year, they're 6-8 straight up, and they are one of the worst when it comes to the spread against the West. They are 3-11. So pretty much the Lakers are in a bad spot against their own conference. So that's going to have to pick up, and that's going to have to get way better if they want to be in the top 4 seeds this year. And then you have the over-under for the versus the West. It's even. So pretty much Lakers are trading off overs and unders pretty much every night, but they are getting over at least about 115 on the road. And I would say that they've played much, much better on the road. The Lakers started off dropping their first 4 out of 5 games, and now they've really went ahead and they've gotten it all together, and they've actually won their last 3 out of 4. So that's good for the Lakers moving forward. And I like what I see with the Lake Show going into tonight. So you have the Grizzlies, who are a really good team at home. They're 8-6 against the spread and straight up. I know that the record doesn't look good, but they beat some really good teams in the process at home. Now, when it comes to overs and unders, they go over a lot at home, going over 9 out of the 14 games they played at home. Now, they played 17 games against the Western Conference. They're 11-6 against the spread and straight up. But when it comes down to over and unders, they went over in 9 out of those 17 games. So they're just a game apart from, pretty much being even in that category. Now, I don't know what the status of Ja Morant is tonight, but I still think that you have a good Grizzlies team over here that can probably go without Ja Morant, but they really do need Ja Morant to even think about beating the Lakers tonight. And the Lakers are not that heavy of a favorite tonight, and rightfully so. I really don't think the Lakers should be the favorite at all in this spot when you look at the way that things are setting up on Memphis's side, because Memphis has a way better record for bettors than the Lakers do. So why would you have the Lakers as the favorite here, knowing that they're not that great on the road? So pretty much what happens here is probably most likely going to be a lot of people who are going to be Laker hating tonight and be ready to bet the Grizzlies tonight. And the Lakers can take full advantage of this and go ahead and do exactly what they did in their last road game. And that was absolutely wipe the floor with Sacramento. And it happened in the second half, but that was probably the Lakers' best win of the season other than the other night against Boston. And this is coming in their last 2 out of 3 games. So the Lakers, to me, are making that move to be a much, much better team at this point. And I think that what happens here with the Lakers is that if they win or lose tonight, it's all good. they are moving forward, and they are very close to streaking in the right way. And I think that a lot of people have to understand the Lakers have not been blown out at all this season. Their only real blowout games that they had were against the Blazers in Portland, and they kind of and things got too loose when they played Boston. They were up in that game, they were competitive in that game, but other than those two games, the Lakers have been right there in the thick of things, and they finally were able to get a blowout against the Kings, and then they were able to get another blowout against the Celtics, the arch rival. So the Lakers are pretty much putting themselves in position to make a big run here as we approach the big Christmas game against Brooklyn. All right, so let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Lakers, Grizzlies tonight in Memphis at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So let's move on to our NBA Thursday night. And in NBA Thursday night, we have ourselves three matchups tonight, but we got two games that we're going to cover. The first one that we're going to look at is going to be the 76ers and the Jazz tonight. This game is actually going to be in Philly tonight, and you have the Jazz coming in here 17-7, while Philly's coming into the game 14-11. And Philly was really good to start the year off, but they've dropped their last 9 out of 15 games after Embiid went out for a week or so, and they just kind of been going through the motions. Now the Jazz coming here with a win over the 76ers as well. On November 16th, they beat the Sixers 120-85. The Lakers also beat the Grizzlies earlier this year at Staples as well, too. So I didn't mention that, but I did want to go ahead and mention that to you guys right now. So you have the Jazz, who are 8-3 straight up on the road, and you have a 6-5 against the spread on the road. Now, when it comes to over and unders, they've won under in 6 out of 11 games that they played on the road. Now, they played against the Eastern Conference 12 times this season, going 7-5 straight up and going 5-7 against the spread. So that means that they are able to win games, but they're not covering in these games. And they've had some bad losses as well, too. They lost to a very bad Orlando team on the road as well, too. So don't think that they're just they're a lock bet, because they're really not, because they've had their issues. You know what I mean? So you really have to look at this one a little closely. You have a spread that's not that far apart either. You have the spread going, because I know I don't have it up here, but you have the spread in favor of Philly tonight. In favor of Utah tonight with the -3, and that's because how they look on the road. Now, Philly is really just a dog because they haven't been good at home as of late. Now, they're 5-5 straight up at home, and they've dropped their last 4 out of 5 at home, to be exact as well, too. They started off red hot at the house, but they haven't been able to duplicate that start in a bit, but that's okay because they're still trying to get guys healthy. And then you have they're 3-7 against the spread at home, and that's what's very alarming to me. I would think that they would be much better against the spread at home like they've been the last few years, but they're not. Now, they've won under 6 out of the 10 games they played at home, and now against the West, they're 3-4 straight up, 4-3 against the spread, and then they've went under in 5 out of the 7 games. Now, what I feel like what happens here is I think the Jazz are a very bad dog tonight in the spot. I think that this is a really good spot for the 76ers to pounce on a team that really feels that they will be able to have their way tonight. I think that this will get bet down to about a 2.5 to 2. It's just the respect of the Jazz's record in this spot and the way that Philadelphia has been so inconsistent. So I think tonight we're good with Philly. I think Philly goes ahead, takes care of their business, gets a big win over the Jazz, and then we can go ahead and get another win over the Jazz in consecutive weeks in our NBA Dog of the Day spot. And also yesterday, if you guys follow the NBA Dog of the Day, we did cash that ticket plus 130 on the Mavericks last night, and a pretty easy win as well, too. So there it is with the Jazz and the 76ers for tonight in Philadelphia. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move from there. Now, we have the game that's going to be the de facto nightcap game, the West Coast game. That's going to be the Spurs and the Nuggets. This game is going to be in San Antonio tonight as well, too. You have a Nuggets team coming into this game 5-8 against the spread and straight up on the road. And then they've went over in 8 out of their 13 games on the road as well too. Now versus the Western Conference, they're 6-6 straight up, including a win over San Antonio on October 22nd, beating them 102-96 in Denver. Now, when it comes to against the spread, not as good. They're 4-8 against the spread, and they've went under in 7 out of their 12 games versus the Western Conference. Now, the Spurs come in here 4-7 straight up at home, 6-5 against the spread, and they've went over in 9 out of their 11 games at home this season. Now, against the Western Conference, they've played 14 games, and they're 3-11 straight up, but they are good when it comes to the spread. They're 8-6 against it. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, not as their over and under versus the West isn't as high as their home overs and everything like that, because they've went under in 8 out of those 14 games. So there you have it. It's just pretty much Nuggets at the Spurs tonight. I think what happens here is we can be very formful here, and I think what we look at is the under in this spot. They went under the first time around, and I think tonight will be the same exact game. It's 215 and a half under over tonight. I think that it falls just short. It's not like it's going to be like a 95-90 game. I think it falls short, like say 105, 102, something of that nature. But it could. I think that honestly, the Nuggets will probably be able to run away with this thing, or the Spurs can go ahead and keep their hot hand up, because a lot of people have to understand the Spurs have won their last 3 out of 4, have won some really key games this month as well too. They beat the Blazers and also went to Oakland and to San Francisco and beat the Warriors. So this team has dropped their last 2 in a row, but they're playing much better basketball. So, it is what it is at the end of the day, but I still feel that this game will stay under. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be our game for today in the nightcap. So there it is. There it is. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a real quick commercial break. And when I get back, we'll go ahead and talk those tickets. Okay. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the Primetime Angles, the premier sports betting show, with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. Now, let's go ahead and jump into talking tickets for today. And talking tickets is very simple today. We have ourselves a pretty fun group today. Now, up first, we have the CBB PrimeTime PK6, the 49-1. And as I said before, you guys can go ahead and either you guys can moneyline Seton Hall as well, too, if you want to. But I just went ahead and I just wanted to have a little bit of fun today and do all spreads. So I did the plus 2.5 on Seton Hall. This probably will be a different number. I put all this in last night when they had the early lines. And then also we have Detroit here at plus 6 as well, too. Tonight, Detroit University, Detroit Mercy. And then we have St. John's tonight going against Mammoth, and a pretty good in Queens versus Jersey situation. And we have St. John's tonight with the -9. And then also we have Iowa State tonight in the Battle of the Corn farmers, where they're going against their arch rival, the Hawkeyes tonight, and I love Iowa State in the spot with the +4. They usually show up for this game as well too, and they are the number 17 ranked team in the nation as well too. And then I'm gonna bite off a big piece of the apple tonight. We have Gonzaga going against Merrimack, and I think that Gonzaga is going to go ahead and work out some things against this small school, and I think they'll wind up getting themselves a nice blowout tonight against a team that's pretty game most of the time. But I just think tonight, with the way that the Zags lost to Alabama, I know that Mark Few's been working them a little bit harder at practice, and I know that this is going to result in a absolute drubbing of the of Merrimack, how I see this game setting up. And then we finish up with a battle in Arizona, where you got Grand Canyon University going against Arizona State. So I'm going to go ahead and tap Hurley's boys to go ahead and cover the 4 tonight as well too. So there it is, a 49-1 ticket on the college basketball tonight. Single what you like. And then we have a 7-1 ticket with the NBA PrimeTime PK3 tonight. And we have the Sixers as our dog of the day at +125. And then we're going to play the over 223.5 with the Lakers and the Grizzlies tonight. And then we go with the under 215.5 with the Nuggets and the Spurs. All right. So once again, as I said before, single what you like in that regard as well too. Now we go ahead and finish up with our Thursday night football bets. And up first, we have what I already called out, the 3.5 on the Vikings tonight. I think they win this game by a touchdown or better. And then in the first half, I have the game going under 21.5. And then in the first quarter, I have the Vikings leading. So I have the -150. And then I'm going to trust the Vikings defense tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers to go under 20.5 team total. Now it's sitting at 19 right now, but if you guys know anything, you know that it's probably going to go up because a lot of people are going to feel that this game will go over, and that's rightfully so. But I don't see this game going over on 3 days rest for both of these teams, and I think that the better, fresher team is going to be the Vikings in this spot. And I think that they're going to lock up. You know, Ben Roethlisberger seems to only have he's not consistent anymore. So that's why I can't take a risk on what Pittsburgh's doing tonight. And you know how this league is going right now. Whoever needs it more is going to wind up winning the game. That's how it's always been in the NFL. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But it's going to be a great game tonight in Minnesota. So I look forward to it. I hope you do as well. So tomorrow I'll be back. We'll have a pretty good show going on tomorrow. I'm going to talk about some college basketball games that to look out for on Saturday tomorrow as well. And then we got the NBA as usual. And then pretty much I'm going to review a couple bowl games as well too tomorrow that we have coming up very, very soon. But they're giving us some time this year with the bowl games. They're not starting them until about the 17th this year. So it gives us some time to go ahead and talk about them kind of in-depthly a little bit. So I'm going to cover about the first 2 bowl games of the year tomorrow as well too. So you guys make sure to tune in for that as well too. So once again, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning into the show and tuning into the NFL Bet Exchange as well too. So as you guys can see, I did double duty over here over the last few hours. So if you guys want to go ahead and hear me keep talking about sports today, at 4:00 this afternoon, I will be on Radio America on the Mike Abadir show. So you guys going ahead and listen, go ahead and go to his Twitter, and you guys can hit the link right there. And I'll be on the show today with Mike. We'll be talking some horse racing and everything like that as well too today. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. But all in all, this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with your host, the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. And the movement is moving, and I am gone.
East and the West. You've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.